Aha! There you all are. Welcome back. Bank holidays. Just recovered from one here in the UK. Now, I'm all for holidays. I like to relax and let my hair down. I'm a fun guy. But all they ever mean to me is I have to pay my staff more or pay them not to come to work. And nobody does anything. You can't get anything done. Everything's closed. They're an enormous pain in the arse, frankly. I've never liked a bank holiday. I don't like banks. Anyway, ahead of tomorrow's experiment, I'm quite looking forward to it. I think it's going to be quite good fun. So ahead of tomorrow's heating with wood experiment, I just want to say something about wood in general, about what burns and what doesn't. In forestry, we have an adage: wood burns, water doesn't. So different trees, when you take them down, when you fell a tree, will have different moisture contents, and they'll also have different moisture contents at different times of the year. So the worst case scenario is taking down something like a willow or a poplar when it's in, middle of spate and growth, and it's by weight, it's 100% moisture content, which means it's 50% by weight wood, which burns, and water, which doesn't. Famously, water is famous for its not burnability. So that at one end of the extremes, you have to count with those things. You have to count with when the tree was felled, seasoning, and all these things. I mean, there's multifarious charts and channels that you can discuss these things with. But please don't try to burn wet wood unless it's the right wet wood, of course. Some woods, you can fell them and throw them on the fire. Those ones generally have a lot of sap. This is elm. You see the evidence, the elm bark beetle. This is Scolytus multistriatus. So when the elm bark gets thick enough, the elm bark beetle feels she can lay her eggs underneath it to protect them over the winter, and then they'll emerge in the spring. So she lays them in a line. She'll burrow in and she'll just lay them in a line. And that's Scolytus multistriatus. It's a little 2 millimetre long beetle. It's not very big or impressive. And she'll fly off, and she'll lay her eggs, and she'll fly off and die. Then the eggs will hatch, and they'll hatch, and the little grubs will radiate away from one another because they're running out across there with their brothers and sisters, and they're trying to eat a load of wood and get as big as possible before they meet, ultimately, their brothers and sisters, where they'll, either die or eat. And eventually, a few will emerge through the bark. They'll chew through, they'll develop wings, they'll fly off, they'll mate, and then she'll lay her eggs in the breeding gallery, and the whole thing starts again. And you can see why it's called Scolytus multistriatus, because it has this multi-striated effect when you see the breeding gallery and the channels made by the larvae afterwards, and then the emergence holes, and you can see the whole ecosystem. Unfortunately, the egg casings of Scolytus multistriatus, when she lays her eggs, are covered in a fungus called Ophiostova novi-ulmi. And what it does, it blocks all of the arterial channels of the tree going up and down, the nutrients and water going up, and the carbohydrates coming down, rings the tree, basically strangles it, chokes it off, can't get any uptake of nutrients and water, none of the plumbing just gets burred up with all the fungus, and the top half of the tree dies. The subterranean parts of the tree remain alive and will produce suckers, and those suckers will grow until they're 30 to 40 years old. The bark will become thick enough for the cycle to repeat. So that's elm. But it's fantastic firewood. It burns like coal. It's difficult to get going, but once you've got it going, it's a fantastic wood. Anyway, I'll catch up with you tomorrow with the burner thing for the heating from wood, heating oil from wood, which is, obviously a necessary skill in a situation. And subscribe, like, and I'll catch up with you on the next one. Bye.